Chilling here with Sirius Talis Moon Hour, and this is Mars night. The moon is 4 degrees Virgo, and Mars 28 degrees Libra, separating from an opposition to Chiron and Aries, and applying to square Pluto, in conjunct Saturn Neptune, and in conjunct Uranus Sedna. Ascendant is ruled by Mercury, with Mercury in 2 degrees Libra in the 5th house, in midheaven ruled by Jupiter, Jupiter 20 degrees Cancer. So, let's do a little bit of a chart. And this is a chart of Joseph Schneider or Sidney Gottlieb, who was basically in charge of recruiting people like my colleagues to basically do all kinds of dark occult practices to target individuals. So the spiritual warfare, the spiritual rapes, and so on, targeting both people and leaders, by the way. That's the guy who was recruiting people to do that. And yes, first of all, the project is called Mkoften, which is, I guess, a part of the project of MK Ultra and associated with the Stargate project. So, just a little bit, as an astrologer who um, was targeted, intended to political assassination prevention. Um, Currently, and this is notice for anybody who is um, whether targeted or involved with the project, there are um, megalithic defenses and a lot of deaths to the dark occultists that practice that. So when you do your defense, whether magic or whatnot, you say send back to original sender, or if more humane death, to original sender, known and unknown. And I would even dare say original conscious sender, known and unknown. That way we liberate the people who have been possessed by a demon, so to speak, without or being tortured to be possessed in such a way. And we basically create the maximum amount of world peace with the minimum amount of effort. So this is economicity also on the level of harm. Okay, we want to stay ethical. Um, the project, like the paperclip and all the sister projects, is coming with Nazi ideology. So by that, I absolutely don't have anything against people who practice occult, or I myself am looking at an astrology chart here, or defends themselves magically. This is not to be litigated as witchcraft, so to speak. Only make sure you target the original conscious senders. And there are many, many people, okay, around the world in all similar projects, whether it is CIA or other intelligences, because the point is, yes, to defend national and international security and individual security, yes, but not to do crimes against humanity. So this is ethics and fairness at the time of Neptune in Aries. It's a great time to rethink intelligence, psychic activities, and so on and so forth. So yes, to many of you who are concerned, yes, there is also a lot of assassinations of psychiatrists, psychologists, and the medical doctors. Okay, this is usually because people die, and then it's usually the same doctors. So families that have, a deceased loved one that wasn't supposed to die, they begin to assassinate the doctors that cooperate with Nazi war crime. Okay, right now it's war crime, but it's basically crime against humanity, even when there isn't a war. And again, in coming days, I believe we're going to have coming days or weeks, around, up until November. I believe we're going to have invocation of Article 5. Um, Please do take into account that all the people that everybody loves to hate are also targeted individuals, and we always point to original sender, conscious sender. So we keep it ethical. Again, I'm turning to political assassination prevention, the role of patient sovereignty, sovereign soldier, and abolishing targeted individuals projects is immense, as well as the fact that those things are done to consolidate wealth and earth resources. Regarding Sedna, I received attunement to the frequency of the miners and the connection between the condition of mining of minerals all across the world and the use of the technology to target or enslave individuals. So this is something that we can begin to tend to have been tending to that at least since COVID, because I was a crystal lover. Those little rocks that are supposed to have healing energy, and they do. And was brought into my attention that the mining conditions were bad because in the chain of supply, the vendor could not reach all the way to the miners. So it's something I called for during Spirit of Matter channel. Great thing to discuss and to tend to during Sedna Uranus conjunction. We may have eurekas as to how to change that. And also for those that are not currently, dealing with an attack, um, perhaps we can also attune to the fact that the missing miners that were also raped, enslaved, tortured. Um, Basically, those are the conditions of the harvesting of the minerals in most cases, almost I think all cases now. And towards an expedition to the Arctic, I think that changing that um, alongside with abolishing those targeted individuals program can be fantastic for both people and leaders and the people that in military alliances and so on. So the wealth consolidation is not enslavement or coming from any Nazi oppressive of women, LGBTQ, men, children, ideology by any Abrahamic or indigenous or secular excuse. And yes, the big eureka that I have is around the miners. And perhaps we can dedicate some time even to meditate, even to think about the miners, even to set intention. And this is a part of manifestation in entrepreneurship that allows for brainstorming and for solutions to arrive. For example, Housing First treats a lot of the symptoms of targeted individuals and even trafficked individuals. And this is by having Housing First independently of ability to work, supporting a person of what they want to do. Okay, not oppressing them not to work, but also not oppressing them to work, and believing the patient, which gives us a strategic intelligence advantage. Finland did that and managed to be one of the strong countries, Nordic countries that face a lot of intelligence threats from Putin and are a NATO ally, alongside with the CISU, that is Nordic countries and their Saturn of Aquarius. This Saturn, the sustenance that is very impressive. I would probably die there. I would really love to visit. Um, yes, I come from the warm Middle East. A little bit of perhaps toxic drawing to Northern Europe because of the um, but now they have artificial clouds. Let's say because of the rain, but now they have artificial clouds. Um, so yes, when we build houses and we build them separately, we basically naturally harvest minerals. And when we dedicate enough time to rest, we can ascertain that our technology would be benefic, um, and can brainstorm for ideas of how to comprise the better technology and how um, to work with an economy that actually serves the people and is inclusive rather than only thinking money and taking that as, even when we think about money or financial responsibility, we have to think about resources and resources economy. And one of the main resources is humanity. And one of the main reasons to sustain an economy is for us to have a life. Okay? And this is not by excessive sacrifice or excessive suffering or all kinds of rituals that in modern society are called satanic and considered crime against humanity, eligible to be to death by execution. Okay, um, just for the indigenous people watching this, that's how modern society deals with that. This is so it's a crime against humanity, not even a war crime. You don't need to have a war. It's a crime against humanity, eligible to execution. Um, Kind of like the Nazis. And yes, it's done with infused by Nazi ideology. That was also inspired by those supposed sustenance that is considered in nowadays society torture, and I think rightfully so. Let's take a look at chart of Sidney Gottlieb. This is a person that, or Joseph Schneider, recruited psychics and so on, and say, hey, let's use these folks for our national security. Again, very likely those were people coming from indigenous bloodlines, whether of indigenous America or indigenous Africa or indigenous Europe. So all of their psychic practices, to put it very simply, all the dumbfuckery, we can absolutely hold accountable those indigenous practices. Because when they are used to target individuals, it's Nazi. Okay? So, um, yes, this is Neptune is an Aries. So, taking a look at the chart, it's an AA chart, excellent quality chart. Um, 29 degrees ascendant, where Mars is going to be in the eclipse, which is a telltale for the disruption is already happening. Um, Mars in Libra, 21 degrees. Black Moon Lilith, 10 degrees Libra in the first house. Venus ruling the ascendant in 11 degrees Cancer. Stellium in Cancer. So Pluto conjoining Jupiter, conjoining Moon in the first decan of Cancer. In a trine to Mercury in Virgo. Mercury in the 12th house. Uranus, the sign of science and experiments, in the lunar nakshatra in Aquarius, in tropical Aquarius, that is associated, unfortunately, with MK Ultra-like and locking people and experimented on them. Uranus is Kundalini energy. Unfortunately, there was a use of not only astrology, and I think it's important to talk about this as astrologers, and very important to discuss these charts, and not as a conspiracy theory. This is something that's affecting our community. And as a person that didn't comply with becoming one of those, which, by the way, would necessitate being a part of extortion cults, Epstein lists, and so on and so forth. I took a break from academia because of the occult in there, because of the dark occult in academia. So yes, this Uranus, unfortunately, operates here, again, malefically, um, Saturn in Leo, Sun and Neptune in Leo, which gives us experiments to induce a split structure of personality psychically. So it's basically designed to do what MK Ultra is doing, but without being seen. Now, of course, it's all frequency. Those that think that they're not seen, of course, they're seen. Okay, not just remotely. It's a technology. I even had a story where it was an attempt to astrally rape me, and you know when you have the screensaver on the phone, grapes are used for the symbol of rape, and there was an attempt to rape me, and then I opened my phone afterwards, and the screensaver showing grapes, and it happened consecutive times after attempts to rape me. Again, simply because I'm an astrologer, or because I'm an academic, or all of the above, or again, I believe we have more targeted individuals than individuals. Um, and thus, yes, a lot of people begin to. I think a lot of the ego issues around coming into terms that for people that began as occultists, I came from academia, but from people that began as occultists, that they were told to stay in their lane, and then they're like seeing their lane. So perhaps there was also an ego issue to, tackle the fact that certain practices, and mind you, those people very likely targeted individuals before they began to practice that, but there are conglomerates of people that begin to create kind of a world peace when it comes to those psychic attacks. Um, yes, to each person is going to be different, but mainly sexual sovereignty in spirit and in matter is a non-negotiable. When once you get that, you do not accept anything that violates that, and you do not accept any treatment method that does not support sexual sovereignty in spirit and in matter, sovereignty, patient sovereignty, über alles sozusagen. And this is very important. I'm in a conversation of sharing more awareness amongst colleagues, also in from my academic studies in the psychiatric and the aligning institutions, including Open Dialogue. Okay, Open Dialogue is not aware of everything, and even though they support believing the patient, they sometimes have these compromises that can be very triggering. So if you see like my Facebook friends or something and see, oh, but that lady works basically in a hospital for crazy people and so on, uh, rest assured that first of all you can contact that person and tell her, like, file your complaint. Secondly, I think most of them speak English. So, and secondly, um, rest assured that I already um, did the elegant form of overkill on any argument against what I just said. And the only reason I would contact is to, to inform people um, and make sure that they are aware, because also juristically, I need to inform them that when they are supporting a crime against humanity, and also I need to inform people that not all people that, let's say, are working with hostel or whatnot are people that are currently committing crimes against humanity. The more we have this bridging and reduction of corruption, um, again, I'm a great supporter in the naivete of science makes everything around it 9/11. Also, when it comes to the occult, okay, as I make talismans myself. I'm an astrologer myself. Um, I purchased with the best of my money a talisman called the Tema Mundi. In its the third time that I purchased, there was tremendous attack of Mkoften, MK Ultra. I contacted Caitlin, and horrible misuse of the gloved hand, third decan of Capricorn balanced in Kabuk. I have a lot of fortune there, so I'm the one who ran into that. But he also did the wall of protection, and I think he's still regretting that to this day, because it works in a way that you erect a boundary and all of the issues regarding this boundary pop up in your life to be resolved. And put a Mars in the 7th house, which is like beyond brave, even if it's ruled by Saturn. For the chart. Okay, now Ketu in Gemini, Rahu in Sagittarius, all this stellium in United States 8th house. Definitely a persona that would recruit occultists to do things that unfortunately get even more national debt to the USA. Because imagine, billions of people. Not everywhere they would go, it's like that's a conspiracy theory, particularly if they go to therapy. Again, big shout out to Annika Lucas interviewing Dr. Miller. Must watch interview, because I know that there are not much therapists today, but Dr. Miller is an important figure in developing treatment for satanic ritual abuse survivors. It's all related, okay? All the dumb fuckery is related in spirit and in matter. Um, and those conversations are really contributing to to discerning and clearing denazification of basically our life. But just think about Googleplex people not having anywhere to go, not really having therapy. Police people have no idea. It first of all, it looks crazy. It sounds crazy. Okay. It looks crazy. It sounds crazy. One of the first time it happened to me, I said, this is probably psychosis. And and I'm speaking with a psychiatrist, and she said me, people in psychosis, they don't actually have this gnosis that they are in psychosis. And and I'm like, well, then I would learn about the open dialogue and so while doing my thesis, and see all the dumbfuckery that's going on with the class lawsuits and olanzapine. A chemist taking a peel of Seroquel that she was not supposed to, and she's a chemist. She knows she's not supposed to cut it in half. Cuts it in half, and I'm like trying to ask her what's happening. So the side effects. Now you can imagine why they wanted a chemist. Okay. I don't know what company she worked at, but very likely she was this person who made a contribution, and they wanted to nullify her. Um, and then you have the doctors that are experts in the correct dosage. so, so I'm like, okay, that's another branch. and, and like it's going to be a little bit tricky to tell them the news about open dialogue and housing first. Um, and all of them see the patients as their children, so anthropological experience definitely. Um, of course, there are the Nazi ones, which is beyond terrifying. Um, but also in the astral, it's beyond terrifying. Yes. So Googleplex people not really having anywhere to turn to, not really being able to work, needing, just think about a person's being raped and can grow excess yeast, which affects over a prolonged period of time, affecting our teeth, affecting our nails, yes, genitals, of course, and then to treat that, because you don't want that to layer up cancer, for example. Okay, when you have stagnation in the body, it's about overgrowth. Cancer is also overgrowth of cells. So you have overgrowth of yeast, it nourishes something, and you have overgrowth of some cells that you don't need. Some of them can be cancerous. Um, and basically, if you ask on a holistic level why, so my holistic health practitioner hat, not the hats of the MK and whatever, then basically sexual boundary violation, it's a violation against the will to live, which makes a person feel dead inside, and basically fungi that is dead and deadly is beginning to grow, and then cells and so on. So now they would need to change their diet while not being able to work, put all their money into their taking the probiotics, which is important. Remind me to take mine, as I'm dealing with that as I'm in my professional. I'm also dealing with that as both knowledge from experience. Um, yes, that's life. And yeah, by the way, one of the things that I said in my hypothesis in my thesis proposal was if consciousness must leave a trace in the body. So now I'll leave an example of that. Not exactly in the way that I thought things to be. Um, I wish you to make contribution to the world in um, more, pleasant ways for you and the world. Um, so yeah, so that's before we hate on this Sidney Gottlieb person. Very likely they were tortured and try to maneuver through that. Um, but yes, Chiron, Chiron, 3 degrees Aries retrograde. Neptune and Saturn are going to go over this Chiron after conjuncting on March 2026. Yes, some was me and somebody have Lilith a couple of degrees away. They have Aries a couple of degrees away. Um, I can attest that it has not been easy for me. um, and for a lot of you thinking, who's gonna believe me? Who's gonna understand me? Well, you won't always be able to talk about that, but look around you. Open your TV, all of them. Open the news, all of them. Open those that are the events that the news foretell. The people in those events, all of them. Um, they can't say it. uh, but yes, this is a big deal. Rao is conjoining the ascendant of the US Sibley chart, and again Jupiter returned for the US Sibley chart. Jupiter, Pluto, okay, occult beliefs, um, people, moon, and this is again in the 8th house of the Sibley chart. Venus, ruler of ascendant, 11 degrees. How did they die? We're not told about their deaths. I don't know. They died at the age of 80. Midheaven, 4 degrees Leo. And again, if you ask, how come such evil people live so long and blah, 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 I was like, okay, their evil comprises of taking the indigenous evil and making a lot of evil until people wise up and stop doing evil and come off their ego complexes around their indigenous societies or elite. Um, now to make it even more satirical, a lot of these folks are Luciferian. When will they awaken? um, yes. Um, so this is the chart. That's the news. For some of you who've also been awake, um, screaming in rage and so on. Oh, by the way, if you are getting this position where you're like screaming in rage and so on, dedicate the energy to, like I said, abolish or death to the conscious original sender, known and unknown. Okay, so, and to, because it is done for wealth consolidation, to have everybody that's trying to gain something from that, losing all that they thought to gain, and the wealth and resources go to the survivors. So those are mindsets that can assist. So if you have like a reaction or an ecstatic rage, as a powerful ecstatic rage, just point the energy to what you intend to point the energy, and not what people want to harvest that for their weird gods that make everything on earth lifeless. Um, and I'll end with the same note that I opened, attunement to the people that are mining the minerals. So it's a little bit of Sedna honoring. Um, do I have anything in particular to say? I think I said pretty much all the things that I have to say about this chart. Um, yes, again, astrological chart. It's not. It's a set of potentials. Not everybody that would be born with those constellations would lock people up, or okay, just to understand that those are sets of dispositions. In fact, one of the main works that I began in Jupiter Point of Talos on Beachute was thinking about Golden Ages astrology and removing the courtesan cartisan, which is basically the split that is resulting from rape, that turned Diana, the fertility goddess, upon the discovery that also sperm is important to make babies, and indeed every sperm is sacred. Um, um, the Monty Python. Anyway, but what's particularly important about that is don't yes, don't rape, because it's like a pissing against the wind, energetically and in all forms, including all the occultistic forms that are based on that. Um, so um, yeah, and then what happened is men began to rape. So the fertility goddess Diana became Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. She, of course, had to hunt rapists and protect mothers and childless women and children. What's in common with all of those? Um, protection from rape. So the split personality that happens is also courtesan cartisan, where there is a division of spirit and matter. Um, that even brought us, and going back to the topic of my thesis, which was about the body-mind questioning epistemic view. So a little bit of history and philosophy of science. When Falken began to rape, we began to question of the body-mind. We began to look what is the body-mind question, um, and began to see them. Would later see them as separate, which is the courtesan cartisan. Courtesan for the feminization, humiliation ritual that would later be of already the Rosicrucians, very likely also inspired by indigenous and other previous not romantic traditions, and that basically is first of all rituals that men did on men. So for many of you, you might not even know 99% of feminism is undoing what men do to men in satanic cults, and also to children, and children to children. So now that we know more about the problem, awareness is a half of curation. Um, and this is when we think about sexual sovereignty in spirit and in matter, we're basically thinking golden ages, in which perhaps even the way that the planets affect us will be different, because when people are fragmented, they are more susceptible to dissection and division, which may be associated with the Hellenistic sects, courtesan division. That really works. It works, okay? You see difference between day charts and night charts, but it may be associated, and we might have fuller integration of sun and moon, yin and yang, and then the division might not actually make too much sense, or we might not be as drastic as we see it in Hellenistic tradition. It's a prediction. I don't know if it is going to be. And as well the lots in astrology, um, which I can bring the hypothesis that they are associated with the medical curses of Rosicrucians, Opus Dei, and similar organizations that preceded them. The way the medical curses work is that they would get the people to do the things that would bring the medical ailment, and then tell them that they can get away with the karma, and bless them. But the bone marrow blessing is beyond treason. It's pure evil. That's all I have to say about that. It's pure evil, because they get a person to be corrupt to the bone, and then say congratulations and bless them with a good bone marrow health. And this is beyond terrible, particularly that people grew up into these traditions and were targeted by their bloodline and their blood type, and even inbred or children born and not registered. So, however satirical it may sound, it is beyond the crime against humanity, and that is used to consolidate wealth by those who fund, which is usually banking milieu and affiliated investments, hedge funds, and beyond. Um, yeah, so my prediction is that those courses, some of the lots might be associated with courses. In Renaissance and medieval astrology, definitely, I know that there are astrology types where, even Uranian astrology, where people can see medical issues. And again, if they study that in the context of any rite, then an order, then we definitely we have not isolated the C factor of cult. Yes, of course, I would not be able to know anything about those without my colleagues and teachers, Christopher Brennan, uh, Hellenistic astrology, Lada Duncheva, everything about everything, Krassia Tassio, Babylonian astrology, um, the lots as well, Hellenistic astrology. Yes, Austin Kapok. Yes, I refine a lot the fact that he was in a personality cult, or still having to work through the things. But as a person, I learned a lot about astrological magic from Caitlin Kapok, and um, bless them on their journey dealing with MQ. Oh my God. I tried to contribute my best to clear that from my colleagues. And yeah, So this is as far as the astrology go, um, and this is on the spot what I can say about that. So my addition or contribution to the astrological field could not have been made without actually learning the basis before I challenged the convention. So let's go back to current planets. And again, I want to emphasize, okay, on the question of evil, nature, nurture, when people go through ritual abuse, through torture, and so on and so forth, um, the point is to control for them what do they get to make of their natal chart. And some of those target the ritual is astrological elected. Okay, a lot of you that are, yes, the attempts to rape me right now when I speak about that. Of course, it's Saturn hour and people want to curse. I was just talking about it. Okay, they elect astrologically the times to try to rape people. Um, of course, fantastic occupation. Yes, but those people are usually tortured, and this is why we turn and defend and turn the energy to original conscious sender, known and unknown. So we don't target individuals, okay? And we don't. Now, my ethic is not to send rape back. Um, Other people have other ethics. I think that the point is to alchemize the situation to bring it into peace and and understanding where the chaos is coming from. So, for example, like when I got minerals and the miners. So this is basically part of what we do when we tend to the psychic art of war that negates enslavement of humanity and all kinds of things that are coming from not exactly a wealthy mindset, but are used to consolidate wealth, which is very funny. Um, More things to say. Sun is already 27 degrees, approaching to oppose Saturn, oppose Neptune. Um, it's not the way that I expected to give my major contribution to humanity on the sciences and astrology and the related arts. Um, Nevertheless, I hope that this reaches the people it needs to reach. And of course, this is my contribution. My name is Shirley Tully Youngblood. And this is important. Okay, so let people not mess with having things backfiring on them to megalithic. Okay, because Saturn Neptune is megalithic backfire when it. Okay, so um, that would not be a good time to steal ideas from people. Um, yes. So the name of this project is that the spiritual warfare is about is called Mkoften, and yeah, they record astrologers, occultists as well. We had colleagues that were killed, and there was a spiritual warfare because nobody could say, nobody I think even not all people knew. I didn't know. I just today I discovered the name MK Often for the psychic. I just called it the second frontier of MK Ultra. Um, but yes, this is basically associated with the Stargate project. And yeah, it's good to have. Yes, stop raping me. Is attempting to rape me is not going to. It's only going to make me say more things and expose more people and find out more things that need to be exposed. And the astral is very occupied, so this reaches the Googleplex people in frequency, and I set the intention for it to do so that need that information right now, for benefic reasons for themselves, and not negating my well-being because I'm like human. And so um, it's important. I'm usually the person in the bunch that talks about what they don't talk about, and that's me being an astrologer talking about Mkoften, because yes, it touches to my field. It killed colleagues. Very likely, I have colleagues that were tortured and became practitioners. And yes, people have to hold people accountable. It's spirit and in matter. Um, and so it can create a lot of course, those are things that are related to treason codes, um, and can create a lot of havoc. A lot of businesses, seen businesses targeted, people wondering who is it, who is this, who is this. But again, I hope I give a little some guidelines um, for defending that energy and the importance of sexual sovereignty, um, and not accepting any type of treatment method that is not supportive of sexual sovereignty in spirit and in matter. Again, this completely negates a lot of the orders because they're raped and told that they are free when they're enslaved. Um, and then they're told that they are losers if they choose to feel and live, and that they are winners if they choose to rape, and they're told that this will heal them. In fact, a part of the things that the counter projects I'm working on right now is that um, is the counter okay when people try to rape and then they're met with whether it's back to sender. And again, I was in the opinion of to send rape is more humane, but as you can see, it's a conglomerate and it's a back to sender, and then basically instead of them trying to indoctrinate, basically telling them what you thought you were going to heal by raping others. Now, it's not the way to go about it. Send the energy to the original sender. Don't harm more people. And this is relevant whether it's coming from MK Ultra, MK Often, or anywhere else. Okay, even if it's just a solitary person that got psychosis. I mean, this happens. People smoke something. It's a war. It's like you never know. But the strategy is the same strategy. And if they try to like bring people to like ecstatic rage, go into the ecstatic rage and set the intention and verbalize the intention, death to original sender, known and unknown, murder all the rapists, whatever, whatever comes up out of you at that point. So the energy is yours and you decide what you set the intention to. That way they're not harvesting that for their life depriving projects, and also it's more difficult. So it's going to backfire way more, particularly when you are conscious and understand it that each and every targeted individual has the right to protect themselves. Look at this Midheaven 22 as I speak. Okay, so people have the right to protect themselves by any means necessary. I can assure you, a lot of these targeting individuals, known and unknown, do not survive basically what they sent being sent to them. Um, and yes, um, this is what begins to shift and change the reality, and it also helps people tap into their own selves, what they came to do, while making a contribution and not neglecting the people in the world that are going through these things, invisible, and it can be the miners that mine the minerals, the people that create our technology, the homeless in the death and concentration camps in the United States. Um, yes, um, the people in tunnels that we don't know about. By now, I think places like Congo, Palestine, people are aware, but other places not so aware. And those are frequencies, okay? Those are frequencies that basically go from full-blown nuclear holocaust frequency to beginning to create world peace frequency, and it sounds like big and utopic and so on. But hey, to some people, having sexual sovereignty sounds big and utopic. In that world, Hiroshima and Nagasaki fell. And now we have a nuclear holocaust globally, worldwide. So if you don't want to go full dystopia, Pluto is out of bounds. That's the time to, within our abilities, to create the reality that we do want. And then we usually get more abilities. That's what I can say. For those of you who are helping others shield, amazing. A lot of you, I want to say another thing. A lot of the help here is helping somebody that you don't even know if they receive that. A lot of neurodivergence. It can feel, it's the complete definition of giving without, it's not without expectation for it to return, but giving and sometimes not even receiving feedback because they don't always see who the person is and they don't trust and so on. Okay, people being literally raped when nobody sees in their houses, in their work, needing to, while giving a speech and an update about the military situation to the people. Okay, there's a lot of unseen horrors, and on an energy level, um, people in such situation cannot always see or even okay, definitely, let alone appreciate, thank, okay, so and they might not even feel safe to do so because they are afraid that something will be taken from them and so on. Again, those are beyond crimes against humanity, and it's basically an attack on the light, which is, it doesn't make sense, but sometimes we deal with things that don't make sense and we still deal with them. So I hope that this is useful for those who need that right now, benefically.